That is right. Another position-by-position preview here. WinDailySports.com, a week number 9 edition of the position-by-position preview, all sponsored by the Sharp app. Go to sharp.link, and that is where you can find all the ways to download the Sharp app, whether that is sharp.link and go to that, and whether that is the Google Play Store, Apple App Store, all the ways you can download the Sharp app at sharp.link. Also, a 1-week free trial that you can get at WinDailySports.com, which includes the optimizer. And we do have on our YouTube channel a guide on how to use the optimizer. So if you want to sign up, WDS.1/liveweek for the 1-week free trial, you can use the optimizer. Check that video out to know how to use the optimizer the best way to help you set a winning lineup for week number 9. Also, link for that, the 1-week free trial, in the description below. Joining me, as always, is Jason Mezrahi. Follow him at WinDaily Sports. As you see, follow us at WinDaily Sports. Jason, how you doing? Week number 9, man. We're getting there.
We are getting there, and we have some value quarterbacks that we got to discuss, man, if it's worth taking a shot on Jordan Love or Taysom Hill or maybe Tua. There's some value at the quarterback
position. Is there another one? Is there another one you're forgetting? Is there another one? Did you not mention him?
What's his name? Who are you talking
Tyrod
about?
Taylor?
Oh, God. Here we go. No,
Come
Tyrod, man.
Look at
Miami's
the value.
defense.
Look at the value there. Miami's defense stinks. The worst pass defense in the NFL. I'm telling you, Tyrod could be pretty good.
No, thank you, bro. You can play all the Tyrod you want.
You're going to pass?
We can go head-to-head. I will leave a spot open. I won't play somebody and still beat Tyrod. Tyrod is not. He's not going to do much of anything, man. This Miami defense is okay. It's not terrible.
No, they're bad, Jason. Bad.
I don't know about Tyrod, man.
No, the only concern is he's coming back from an injury, obviously. He got injured.
He's also bad. He's also bad.
He played pretty well at the start of the season, though. I mean, he was good. He had a good game against Jacksonville. He was playing really well against Cleveland, and then got injured. You know, I think he's fine. He's good enough for 5K.
Man, not for me, man.
Honestly, I might.
I could be wrong. I'm just not on. I'm not on him.
Are you leaning Jordan Love and taking even less at 4.4K against Kansas City?
Look, he's not going to be in my main lineup. You know, I'm not going to build my main lineup with Jordan Love. I'm not going to build my single entries with Jordan Love. There would need to be a lot of convincing by Nick and Ghost and Adam.
Which you can listen to Sunday morning at 11 a.m.
I would need a lot of convincing to play Jordan Love in my main. So probably going to have some shares. You know, if I'm max entering 150 lineups, he's worth, 5%, 10% of my lineups. Same thing with Taysom Hill. Once we get the green light that he's a full go, I think there's more rushing upside available with Taysom that will give you a safer floor at 5,500. But then you get into like the sweet spot, with Lamar Jackson right there at 7,300. So look, there's value across the entire slate. There's value up top. It doesn't mean, value doesn't always have to be your 4K guy, 5K guy. If Lamar goes out there and drops 35, he'll hit extreme value at 7,300 on DraftKings as well. So he's the guy that is going to be popular along with Josh Allen. I'm hearing rumors. I don't know if it's public yet. I've heard some rumors that Kyler Murray is going to be sitting this one out. So the line is a little bit fishy right now, where the Cardinals are actually, last time I checked, I think they were getting points here.
Yeah, so getting points. San Francisco is laying 1.5 right now. And I think that moves up to 3 when we do get the official Kyler Murray's out.
Yeah, so it looks like Kyler's going to be out. So he's going to be off the slate. So you got Lamar there at 7,300. You got Josh Allen, great matchup against Jacksonville. As long as Jacksonville can come out and score enough to keep Josh Allen throwing in the third and fourth quarter, you could see another 30-point game out of Josh Allen too. So Allen, Lamar Jackson in 2 great spots. Patrick Mahomes, this line moved a bunch when Rodgers went out. A bunch. Went down 6 points on the over-under, down to 48 from like 54. So they're projecting a little bit lower scoring game, maybe controlling the clock by Green Bay with some Aaron Jones. So that brings down ownership on Patrick Mahomes. Green Bay is a better defense than, what Patrick Mahomes faced the last couple of weeks. So I don't think Patrick Mahomes is going to be popular, man. Everybody's been getting burned by him week in,
I
week
think he's going to be severely, the roster percentage is going to be severely down this week.
Yeah, him and Kelsey. So when you're building these multi-entry, contests and you're going to enter a bunch of lineups, you're on our optimizer at Win Daily Sports, you're trying it out for free. I wouldn't take Mahomes out of my player pool. I would keep him somewhere between, 10 and 20%. Lamar Jackson, 15 to 25%. Josh Allen, 15 to 25%. And then, the interesting game, or one of the interesting games, is Jalen Hurts versus Justin Herbert. You're a Philly boy. You love your Eagles. How do you see this game playing out? Because, it's been like the tale of, two cities with these two teams, man. Like, they've come out like gangbusters and scoring a bunch of points as far as Herbert goes. Jalen Hurts, first game, I feel like he went under 20, points last week. And everybody but Jalen Hurts scored a rushing touchdown in that game. I think your boy Jordan Howard got one.
Yes, he did.
Boston Scott.
I don't know about my boy, but he did.
Yeah, so it's like, that was a week I had him in my main line and be disappointed. Everything, like, if you told me that they put up all those points, I'd be like, all right, Jalen must have had a great game, but he had a very mediocre game at best. So what do you think happens in Philly against the Chargers?
It'll be interesting because the passing game still hasn't been great. They were just able to win based off of the running game, based off of playing great defense. And not great, but they played well enough against the Lions. Yeah. Right. I'm still kind of concerned. Now, in terms of fantasy, Jalen Hurts should be fine, but I'm still concerned about the ceiling of this because it is this is a game where he could. A lot of short passes. I don't think the Chargers secondary is anything great. So they can methodically get down the field, short passes. This could be a solid passing day for Hurts. But where I get concerned with that is he's just looked like a bad passer. Even in that Lions game, was 9 of 14. Every single throw to the right, was bailing out of the pocket too early. So I'm not a big fan of Hurts. And the Eagles secondary is looked at to be kind of good. But I question that a little bit because Darius Slay's fine. But I don't like the rest of this secondary. And you still can attack the tight end or the linebackers with tight ends and running backs, especially Austin Eckler. Davion Taylor and TJ Edwards look good, and they were the starters against Detroit. They look good against Detroit. Are they going to look good against the Chargers? Like, that's a question that, I think the answer to me would be largely no. I think the defense is going to look and revert back to some of its bad ways before they took on the Detroit Lions. So I am leaning a little bit more on the Chargers offense. And this one, especially, I love Austin Eckler. When we get to the running backs, Justin Herbert should be fine, but I'd rather go for more of a ceiling game, one that I know should be great, like Lamar Jackson. Like, I think that's the much better play than Justin Herbert. I don't think you have to force him into any lineups, or even if you think, the Eagles defense is still bad and he could have a good game. I just don't know if it's going to be enough to want to put Justin Herbert in, to me, over guys like Lamar Jackson or even some of the value plays that are available. I don't think it's worth it.
Yeah, I think Lamar Jackson, on pace for another 1,000-yard season from a rushing perspective. Him and Josh Allen.
Yeah, Josh Allen too, because they're going to put up points and they do it one way. Like, truly, they do it only one way.
They should be your cash game quarterbacks. A guy that you can pretty much guarantee gets you 20 points, pretty much guarantee gets you 25 points in both these matchups. Good matchups in both situations for Buffalo and Baltimore here. So, like, those should be your cash game quarterbacks. If you're building your single entry, your 50-50s, your double ups, that's where I would lean and get value elsewhere. There's a ton of value on this slate. Now, with your GPPs, I would still get ownership to those two guys, get half the ownership of Allen and Jackson with Patrick Mahomes, then sprinkle a couple shares of Herbert, Jalen Hurts. I would still look to grab some Dak Prescott here. Guy's been balling out as long as he's healthy. He was a full practice on Thursday. So you should sprinkle some shares, with Dak, hope that Denver can keep pace here. They're playing at home in Dallas, no weather concerns. So Dak is in play as well. And then, like I said, Taysom Hill practice on Thursday as well. Rushing upside is there. I wish Mark Ingram wasn't there. Like, I wish Taysom Hill got to start without Mark Ingram, because Mark Ingram just went out there and took away shares from Kamara. He's going to take away shares from Taysom Hill here. So I'm not like all in on Taysom here. Great matchup against Atlanta, but Atlanta's going to have a tough time scoring with no Calvin Ridley. Their offense is when you're featuring Cordarrelle Patterson, there's a problem there. And New Orleans just pretty much shut down Brady and the Bucs, so they shouldn't have any problems with Matt Ryan. So it lowers some expectation to Taysom Hill. And then, like I said, man, take a couple of shots on Jordan Love. 4,400.
Right, at 4.4K, yeah, you have to.
We've never seen this guy. We really have never seen this guy.
But we haven't. But there's still potential just with the Chiefs secondary. I mean, they're so bad. There's got to be some level of production there.
It's a dream matchup. Like it's not like you're getting your first start against the Rams. You're getting your first start against like the worst defense around. That's so much yardage around. And even if he starts bad and he struggles, you still have Patrick Mahomes on the other side trying to put up points for 4 quarters. So it's still going to be a high-scoring affair. 4,400. It's kind of like it's the equivalent of getting like a 2K defense in a great matchup. Like somehow a 2K defense going against, a Jordan Love type. That's really what it is. It really can't burn you at 4,400. If he goes out there and gets you 10 to 12 points, you're happy. You're not upset about it. The only way he burns you is if he fumbles the ball, throws 2 picks, throws for 120 yards and no touchdowns. The odds of all that going against him with weapons, like they have weapons. It's not like even though Justin Fields had a good game last week, it's not like it's Justin Fields with no run game and no passing game and no weapons. No, he's got Aaron Jones. He's got Devontae Adams. He has weapons across the field. So, look, this is his time to shine for a week. So, 4,400, I can definitely get behind it. I don't want to endorse it for cash games, but for your GPPs, It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it does. And if you're going to do something like that, that means you can maybe get some of the top running backs. And let's go to some running backs here. WinDailySports.com. And you know what the good thing is, too? Just check out the optimizer. Put in a lineup with Lamar and put in a lineup with Jordan Love and just see what you come up with. And that's one way to use the optimizer to try and figure out, okay, which lineup do I actually like more here? Do I build around that 4.4K cheap quarterback, or can I find a good lineup with 7.3K? And you can use the optimizer, WDS.1/live week for a 1-week free trial. That includes the optimizer in the free trial. All right, so let's go to running backs, Jason. Again, if we can get a cheaper quarterback, that means we can maybe go after a top running back. Which one are you going after, though? I think for me, Kamara, sure. Out of all the top options, I love Eckler.
Yeah, I'm with you on Eckler, man. Guy is heavily involved. I want to attack this Eagles, team all around, with the situation with, Keenan Allen and Mike Williams fighting for targets here. Eckler is the safe bet, man. He can go out there and grab you 10 targets. He's a goal line back as well. Not in any kind of look. There is some vulturing opportunities for guys on the Chargers team, but it's not like Alvin Kamara style right now with Taysom and Mark Ingram there. I'm pretty much off of Kamara, even though he's got a good matchup. I'd rather have Eckler there. Dalvin Cook, man, been struggling. This is a nice little game for him. Good matchup, up pace. They haven't been using him the way they used him in years past so far, battling injuries. So I think, Dalvin Cook is interesting, but Austin Eckler is the top guy for me. And I see Sticks, went up here and slid Zeke ahead of him. So I need to speak to Sticks and see what
he's seeing with Denver. But what the game script's going to be from the, and a little bit is, they are a 10-point favorite, Dallas. So this could be a game script where they can just run the clock out a little bit at the end and use Zeke. But it's interesting to see him up there like that.
Yeah, the theory is game script in his favor. This is what I'm assuming, Nick has for Zeke here. Game script in his favor. When Zeke got over 20 touches in week 4 and week 5, he went over 100 yards. He put up over, 23 points and 28 points. Similar matchup here. When he gets over 20 touches, he gets over 100 yards. So he's probably leaning there. He's involved in the pass game. He's been catching some screen passes involved there as well. So probably a little bit of pass catching. And then on top of that, maybe they lean off of Dak a little bit here. Dak is fighting an injury, coming back. They won a big game without him. So maybe they're just thinking, you know what? Let's lean on the run game here. Let's lean on Zeke. We don't need Dak dropping back and throwing for 350 yards here. So I can see the Zeke play, and I'm looking at, the optimizer on WinDailySports.com right now. He is, fairly high owned. He's actually more owned right now than any other running back, which is somewhat surprising to me. I didn't expect this. I thought, Eckler would creep up ahead of him, maybe even a little Aaron Jones status. But Zeke is there for a reason, so we definitely got to look into it. And Dallas should win this game, pretty easily. They've been looking really impressive, week in and week out. So as long as Dak's back there, I get the Zeke play.
Yeah, I get it as well. So Zika Elliott is projected to be the top rusher when you look at value. He's also the top value. Myles Gaskin is up there. I don't know if I'm a big fan of Gaskin, but there's a couple of interesting ones. I first want to go with Chuba Hubbard against New England. Is that doing anything for you at 20.8? The thing is, Chris McCaffrey could come back, but the New England defense is pretty good. Just, seeing these values here, I'm not actually seeing a ton of matchups that I love. So I might just want to pay up, honestly, and just get Zeke. Get Zeke and get one of these other top running backs. And I hate to say it's an Aaron Jones game because we all keep thinking that, and then it never really happens. But this could be one where they want to run the ball more and not keep it in Jordan Love's hands and quick passes and getting out, to the flat with Aaron Jones. But I know I'm at least going to get Zeke and probably maybe Cordero Patterson or Joe Mixon, one of these mid-level guys. This is one where the matchups are lining up where I don't know if I want to take a chance on any of these mid-range guys.
Yeah, listen, man, it's kind of dirty down here, man. It really
is. It's gross.
Like, do I really want to play a Miami running back? Hardly ever. I haven't played one all year. This is the matchup, just simply like game script, similar to Zeke here. Miami should win this game pretty easily, but Gaskin, you look at, I'm not like a box score watcher here, but like, what is it that you see here that makes you want to play Myles Gaskin? The only thing that he's getting some, targets out of the backfield. But for the most part, if they're winning, he's not going to get a bunch of targets. And he's not doing much with his run game here, averaging 3 yards, 4 yards per carry, on the season. Not somebody I want to go out there and grab. And it's not like he's like super cheap. He's 5,800. And that's why I think Nick went ahead and, bumped Zeke up, to force people in and advise our guys at Win Daily to find a way to go ahead and grab Eckler and Zeke. I think that's the play here. You get the safety. Look, can other running backs go out there and do it? I think so. I think Nick Chubb is kind of interesting. There's so much trash going on in Cleveland. Odell's dad, Odell talking himself. Baker is, for the most part, trash in my eyes. Odell's no better than him. But I think Nick Chubb, they got to
bounce back. It was a bad game, and so I imagine there could be somewhat of a bounce
right.
back. Yeah,
they got to get things right. The matchup is good against Cincinnati. 26, 27 against the run here. So this is a good matchup for him, a plus matchup for him. He's getting the touches. There's nobody that's really. I don't think like Dearness Johnson's going to go out there and grab touches away from him. There's no Kareem Hunt there. There's all these problems with Landry. There should be some motivation for Cleveland to get right here. And I think the only way they can possibly get right here is with Nick Chubb. And let's not forget, the New York Jets ran all over the Bengals. I don't know how it happened. I really don't get it. The Jets are terrible, but they put up a bunch of yardage, and Michael Carter had a big game as well. So if they can do it, why can't Nick Chubb do it, is my theory. So I think Nick Chubb, if you made me figure out a way to, go with a guy like we mentioned, like a Hubbard or a Gaskin, no thank you. Give me the couple extra bucks. Yep. Let me find a way to get up to Zeke or find a way to get up to Nick Chubb. I'll take Nick Chubb all day, over, those other guys at the 6K range. I'm just not interested.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's really slim. So, I think Dalvin Cook certainly in play, but, I would stick right there. And even Nick Chubb, 6.7K. So it's a little bit under the 7K mark. But that's where I'm sticking. I don't know if I'm going much farther down below that, because even Colorado Patterson, that's a tough matchup against New Orleans. Chuba Hubbard, I think, is a tough matchup. Damian Harris, I think, also has a tough one, too.
Yeah, and Cordarrelle, he's involved. Don't get me wrong. But I don't know if they're going to move the ball too much against the Saints defense, man. They stifle Tampa. They should stifle, the Falcons at home, too. So, yeah, like that's 6, Nick Chubb is the lowest I want to go right now. Obviously, wait till Sunday morning, check out the live stream. There's going to be somebody that pops, due to an injury, and things could change. But right now, my lean is to stay in that 6 to 7K range, find a way to get 2 out of 3 between Eckler, Elliott, and Chubb. And with Elliott only $300 more than Chubb, I would lean Elliott in a little bit worse of a matchup, but a better team, better touchdown equity, with Zeke and Eckler.
Yeah, I like it. Let's move on to the wide receivers here as we're doing a position-by-position preview, WinDailySports.com. And this is all sponsored by the Sharp app. The link, sharp.link, you can go there, and it'll take you to all the ways you can download the Sharp app, whether that is the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store, whatever the app store you choose. You can download the Sharp app. All right, now to wide receivers. So I imagine if we're going to pay up at running back, that means we're going to have to try and find some value over at wide receiver. Now, we can find some value at quarterback, obviously, with Jordan Love, but receiver. So I will go straight to the value. Any of these wide receivers that kind of do it for you. I can see a couple that I really like.
I know the guy you like. I think it's the same guy that I like, Hunter Renfrow. Unfortunately,
close.
Henry Ruggs.
I do like him, but there's another one here.
Yeah, close. It's probably T. Higgins then. I know
you're a big
there
you go.
Higgins guy. Yes.
There you go.
One or the other. For me, it's Renfrow. I wrote him up, on USA Today article. Even last week, 8 targets. Numerous times this year, he got 8 targets, 6, 7, 8 targets. At 4,800 with no Ruggs. I know Ruggs wasn't taking a lot away from Renfrow, but enough to give him a bump in a situation at 4,800 that I think he's safe, man. And if he finds his way into the end zone, he's got 2 touchdowns on the season. He'll smash his value. You want to get, if you can get 15, you're happy. If you can get 20, you're ecstatic at a 4,800. And I think he's a nice, safe spot. He's not going to burn you. This should be, a good game against the Giants. The Giants, they play good defense, but they can also score too here. And the Raiders don't play great defense. So I think this can be somewhat of a back and forth game. I don't see either of these teams blowing anybody out. Giants, I heard rumors, this afternoon, there are some worries of a COVID breakout, bad testing. Not really sure yet, but 46.5 over under. Vegas is favored by 3 here. They got to keep winning games. I think he's the number 1 target for Derek Carr here. I wouldn't be shocked for him to get over 20 points. We do got to see what's going on with Darren Waller, because I also like Waller in this situation. But if we're paying up for, running backs here, we're going to have to pay down for wide receivers. So, Renfrow is the guy I like. Tell us why you like T. Higgins so much, because every week I feel like you're talking about this guy, T. Higgins.
Yeah, well, I like both wide receivers, Jamar Chase and Higgins, but Higgins has just been getting a ton of targets, and it's just getting to the point where he's due for a breakout, like this huge game. And I think it's going to happen here against Cleveland, because I think Jamar Chase is probably going to get the tougher matchup in this one. So T. Higgins, I think, is just lined up. I think for that big breakout game, and at 5.3K, I would definitely want to test it. I'm not afraid of like this Cleveland defense. So I think there is a level of expectation when a team plays Cleveland of, okay, well, they're playing a good defense, a good front and all that. This is not a favorable matchup, but we've seen good passing offenses be able to put up a ton of points. Justin Herbert had 4 touchdowns against this defense. So did Kyler Murray. The last 2 games, they really didn't play good passing offenses, especially last game. They took on Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers. They're not very good. So I think Cincinnati going to come back home after 3 straight road games. Their passing offense is going to look good, and it even looked good against the Jets. But I just think after that Jets loss, they're going to want to bounce back in a big way. And I think Joe Burrow is going to have a nice day passing, which leads to, I think, T. Higgins becoming a really nice play at 5.3K. I think he is going to get all that value and more at 5.3. Now, he could probably be, and I think he'll be, the leading receiver for Cincinnati in this game. I think he'll have the most yards, targets, catches, and touchdowns as well. Like, I think this is the T. Higgins game here.
Yeah, I like the call here. We got to see what's going on with Sammy Watkins. If we're playing Lamar Jackson, he was a limited participant on Thursday. If he's out, it opens some things up for Bateman again. Gives Marquise Brown a boost and Mark Andrews a boost. But if Watkins is in, it takes away from all three guys. So I want to see what shakes out with Sammy Watkins here. If he's out, like I said, I will have some interest in these Baltimore receivers. But if he's in, I lose a little bit of interest. But if you are running Lamar Jackson stacks, you got to make a choice. You can roll him out naked, especially in cash games. I don't mind that. But in GPPs, I want to flow at least one guy through Lamar Jackson. So, there's a choice to be made there after we get the news on Sammy Watkins. Look, Bryan Edwards could potentially step up. He can just be a ghosto too and grab you 0 points. So it worries me a little bit. I see Nick has Nico Collins. I know.
I had to point that out for Nick's sake. I know he's a big Nico Collins guy, and I think this is the day we see it. I do. I think this is the day we see it.
I know you like Miami, attacking Miami here with your Tyrod Taylor call. I'd rather take a shot on a wide receiver than, really going down a bad road and my quarterback, goes out there and gets 8 to 12 points. So, Collins, 4 targets last game, 5 targets the game before, 6 targets the game before that. So he's starting to rack up some targets. He's starting to rack up, just being more involved. So if he can find a way to keep building on that, the price is right on him. It's a 46.5 over under. Dolphins favored by 5.5. Not a bad play for a number 2 wide receiver in an offense that is going to put up around 20, 21 points and playing from behind most of the games. So got to check out Nico Collins. It does make some sense there. And if you need value, he's a good little spot to get value on there. And running it back on the backside, look, Jalen Waddle has the upside that you want. He really does. And he gets a ton of targets. If he breaks one for a touchdown, he'll be in a situation that he'll have a pretty monster game. Look, last 3 games, 13 targets, 8 targets, 12 targets. Has he done much with it? Not so much. But in week 6 against Jacksonville, 2 touchdowns, 10 receptions, 70 yards receiving. Against Atlanta, 83 yards receiving, 8 targets, caught 7. And last week against Buffalo, a really good defense, 12 targets, only caught 4 balls. But this matchup against Houston doesn't get much better, So this is a great matchup. They're average at best across the board, and their total defense is, league worst. They're giving up 401 yards a game here. So Waddle should be a guy that can go out there and do his thing, and he's fairly priced at 5,600. Like, DraftKings does not want to change the price on Waddle when he does have the upside. Some of these top guys, man, there's really, outside. Look, you're not going to pay up, or most people won't pay up for Davante Adams without Aaron Rodgers. Tyreek has been struggling, or this offense has been struggling. Tyreek has been somewhat inconsistent, even though he had a big week last week. He hasn't had a real big week since week 4 against Philly. And then Debo, as much as I like Debo, and he's 3 of his last 4 games over 100 yards, he is dealing with a questionable tag, limited participant calf, situation. In Arizona's defense, it's going to be the toughest matchup for Debo. So with the injury, the elevated price tag, and the matchup, I'm off him. I do like Stephon Diggs. I think Stephon Diggs,
the only one I'd actually pay up for in that way. Maybe Jefferson, but I feel better about Diggs.
Yeah, Diggs is in a dream spot. So if you can find a way to get Diggs, I think he's just probably the safest of the bunch here. And you're getting a slight discount on him, over Davante Adams or Tyreek Hill. Not anything to write home about, but at 7,700, if Jacksonville can just stay in this game long enough, he's in a great spot.
All right, let's move on to your favorite position. By the way, you can check out the tight ends article for free over at windailysports.com so you can get a couple of plays that Jason likes, and we'll go over a few of them here as well. The first one, I guess I'll ask it. Are we just going to keep trying for the Travis Kelce game, or are we done with that?
Listen, man, from like week 3, week 2, week 1, if you didn't play Travis Kelce, you were an idiot. You would have been made fun of, people threw rocks at you and all that kind of good stuff. Now, based on a couple of weeks of bad performance, it's the opposite. It's like this guy is washed. Kansas City should think about trading him. Like all this ridiculous comments come out. So what that means to me is, again, similar to Patrick Mahomes, everybody got burned by Kelce the past couple of weeks, and his ownership is going to drive down, and he's still Travis Kelce. Nothing really changed. Okay, he fumbled the ball. He dropped a couple passes. He hasn't had that big game. But, he's still Travis Kelce. And he's still getting a ton of targets. And he's still, he hasn't scored a touchdown in 3 weeks. And he hasn't broke 100 yards receiving since week 3. But, recency bias is in everybody's head. He might end up, 10% owned. And you want to get some shares of him. You really want to get shares of him. Waller also in a really good spot here with no Ruggs. He's getting a ton of targets. He should be well rested. He hasn't played since week 6. He's got an ankle situation. He was not listed on the injury report so far, so he should be a full go, well rested for 2 weeks. So I like Waller as well. For every 1 share I have at Kelce, I'll probably have a share of Waller. In lineups that I'm not playing Hunter Renfrow, probably have a good amount of Darren Waller there as well. That's, the top 2 guys, for a good reason. I'm off of Kyle Pitts against New Orleans. Without Ridley, we saw Atlanta kind of struggle to move the ball. And
just tough defense in general.
Yeah, tough defense,
I don't want to test that.
Yeah, so I'm not going to go with Kyle Pitts. So I think, the clear answer is go Kelce, go Waller. And then it drops off. And the guy I want next would be Mike Gesicki.
Yup.
He's in a great spot here at 4,900. I just think, if you don't like Waddle or you don't want to pay up for Waddle, you take Gesicki. And dude is just figuring things out. He has 2 20-point games in the last 3 games. His low game is going to be 8 to 9 points, somewhere in that range. The matchup is as juicy as it can get against Houston, fairly priced at 4,900. So I'm a big fan of Gesicki at 4,900. If you don't go Gesicki, I think your boy Dallas Goedert, he's the best.
Yeah, he's fine in this game. Yep.
Unfortunately for you guys in Philly, he's probably your best receiver.
Yeah.
Most consistently guy who can find a way to get open and catch balls. So I think Goddard and Gesicki are super safe at 4,500, 4,900. A reason not to go up there and pay for Waller and pay for, Kelce. You're going to need some discounts somewhere. And then if you want to slide all the way down, a guy that, if you look at the box scores, man, the last couple of weeks, he's pretty much fighting for targets with Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen, and he's creeping up and creeping
Tyler
up.
Conklin, baby.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of his haircut, when I'm looking at his face on DraftKings, but at $3,000, like if we want to pay up for Eckler and Elliott, he's probably the guy you want at $3,000. Kind of like we were preaching, go ahead and go play Dan Arnold. Last week, we're going to be preaching to go take the discount on Tyler Conklin. And he's a nice little run back for your Lamar Jackson stacks and your Baltimore stacks. So I just built a lineup with, or a mold of a lineup of players we just spoke about with Lamar Jackson, Eckler, Elliott, Hunter Renfrow, your boy T. Higgins, Waddle, and Conklin, and building that lineup out. And let's look for a cheaper defense. If you got the balls to play the Kansas City Chiefs at 2,300 against Jordan Love, you get some nice little leverage there because, Jordan Love is going to be the shiny new toy that everybody wants to go out there and roster. And Kansas City's defense is atrocious. They're bad. But, last week against the Giants, they put up 6 points. Against Tennessee, 3 points. They're getting to the quarterback, 1 pick, one or 2 sacks is really all you need from a defense at 2,300, and then you can really pay up for a third guy here, a third back. So, there is value on this slate if you get creative. I'm not saying I'm going to load up by any means, on the Chiefs defense here, but, we could do worse than the Chiefs defense. There's other defense. I'd rather play the Chiefs defense against Jordan Love than like the Vikings defense against Baltimore. I also do like. I wish I can, afford to pay up a little bit at defense. I think, the Patriots are too high at 4,100. The Bills are too high at $4,000. Saints a little bit too high at $3,700. These are the three top defenses, but you really want to get some value on defense. I never really want to pay up for the top.
Dallas
defense.
isn't bad. I know that's a little bit higher up there, 3,300. That's not bad.
Dallas
49ers, if you want to think Colt McCoy is starting, that's another one.
Yeah, the Chiefs at 2,300. Vikings, I'm fading. Eagles, I'm fading. The Browns, fading. They're in shambles there. But look, they can get to Burrow. They can get some pass rush there. I'm not touching Jacksonville. Not really, excited about the Panthers. The Bengals, look, the Cleveland is in shambles to some extent. We don't really know what's going on in that locker room. So if they're all, arguing with each other and talking trash to their own teammates, Cincinnati, they're going to be hungry after losing to the Jets. Like, coming off a loss like that, I think that'd be a team that would make some sense too. But, take some shots, man, with defense. I leave it for the last position, or if I'm in love with the defense, I might pick it first and kind of see where I'm at. But you're looking for 5 or 6 points, and look, if things break your way, you can go ahead and get a defense that scores a touchdown. But that's almost just straight luck at some points. You want a team that can fight for takeaways, but a lot of the times, these defensive touchdowns are lucky in late game action.
Yeah, no luck involved, though, when it comes to Win Daily Sports. When we win, it's because we are using the tools provided, and you can check out all those tools, windailysports.com, WDS.1/live week. That is where you can get the 1 week free trial when you sign up. Also, link for that is in the description below. Again, WDS.1/live week. Also, all sponsored by the Sharp app. Sharp.link is where you can go download the Sharp app. It'll give you all of the ways you can download the Sharp app, whether that is the Apple Store or Google Play Store. So go download the Sharp app. Sharp.link. That is it for the position by position preview. Sunday game by game preview. Sunday morning, 11 a.m. from Ghost and Sticks. It is the thing that you need to be watching and listening to every Sunday morning before slate's lock. But coming up tonight, more here at windailysports.com. Joel is back with some college football super flex. He'll be giving you all of his favorite DFS plays for Saturday's college football action. That's all coming up here and more on Win Daily Sports.